which part of the world you're seeing my video from. This is a forum where we promote the rich cultural heritage of the Igbo people. Today, I decided to show you something a bit practical, and then perhaps I'm going to go around with you, and then likely when I come back, we'll proceed with the live stream. I decided this day to plant yam. So I have made trenches where I will plant the yam. Our land is so fertile that you don't have to use fertilizers to cultivate yam. So we just plant them on ordinary ground like this, and then it will produce. We don't even use fertilizers. We don't make ridge. We don't use sack bags. But I'm going to experiment with sack bag anyway. So this is what I'm doing right now as an Igbo man. This is what I'm doing as an Igbo man. They say yam is the king of crops in Igbo land. Yam is the king of crops. So every Igbo person, as long as he's alive, must do well to cultivate yam during this time of the year, so that when it is time for harvest, the person can have something to do Iwaji. You know, there are people who recently started celebrating Iwaji with us, like our brothers in Benin, in Edo State, who recently started celebrating Iwaji, but they have not learned the way we do Iwaji. Some people still go to buy yam to celebrate New Yam Festival, which is very wrong. In fact, I don't know how their own ancestors will feel. You are not supposed to buy yam to perform Iwaji. You are supposed to cultivate your own yam, so that when it is time for Iwaji or Iriji, depending on how they call it in your place, you can just easily go and harvest your yam, and with it you can do your Iriji. But we're in an era where people buy yam to celebrate Iwaji, which is totally very unacceptable. It is wrong. In our tradition, we don't do that at all as Ndi Igbo. We cultivate the yam that we use for Iwaji. We don't buy yam to celebrate Iwaji. So today I'm here to discuss with us why yam, G, is considered the king of crops na Ani Igbo. Good morning, my dear Ezenwa Agu. God bless you. So, Hood Boy, my brother, 2026. It's nice to see you once again. It's been a long time that I did this kind of live stream. I'm not wearing my costume as well. I'm in my hometown, and I am from Ubuluku in Delta State. I'm trying to cultivate yam, with which I will perform my Iwaji later in the year. So you see, the life of an Igbo man is usually well planned. There's a time for planting, which is now, and there's a time for harvest, which is later in the year. By the time my mates will start talking about Iwaji festival, I will not be behind. I will not say, let me attend my friend's Iwaji, because I will also have my own Iwaji to perform. I will not go and buy yam like the Bini people and some of the communities around me. Some people ignore this time of the year and think, oh, after all, how much is yam? I can buy yam. Celebrating Iwaji with a yam that you did not cultivate while you are in that vicinity is very wrong. If you are in Germany, you are in Lagos, a place where you cannot plant. You are in Abuja, a place where you cannot plant something, and you buy yam to celebrate Iriji, it's not a problem. But when you have yam in your place and you live around your hometown, it won't stop you, it won't take you anything to go and cultivate, even if it's 100 fronts, 100 seedlings of yam, or 50, or 20, or even 10. How many will you need for harvest? So that when your mates are doing iriji, you will have yam to celebrate your iriji, not the one you bought from the market. Thank you so much, my brother. You said, bros, quick question, please. What is the original Igbo name of where you call Delta today? What we call Delta today is very vast in terms of its landscape. It's very, very vast. Now, there are different categories of names of the places we call Delta today. It's a very large landscape, okay? Even if this is a deviation, but I have to quickly address the question. The place we call Delta today had in it Enuani. Enuani. Enuani means the upland dwellers. It is described as upland dwelling Igbo speaking people of the western Niger. Enuani. That was before the name Delta. We call them upland dwellers, the Igbo names, Enuani. Enuani covers as far as Eka. As long as it is upland, it is Enuani. The opposite of Enuani is Okwani, lowland. So there are two different regions in the area, in the Igbo speaking area of Delta. We have Enuani, upland, Okwani, lowland. So the Okwani areas are the Okwani. In fact, it still bears the name Okwani today. Okwani. Ndo Simini. That is the one they call Ndokwa. Ndokwa. Now, the Ndokwa people and the Okwani people are the Okwani people. While we are Nyocho Shimili and the Eka people are the Enuani people. Eka is just a recent name. The Beninese think it's believed that the word Eka is like it means conquered area. But before they were ever conquered, if they were, it is called Enuani. Enuani is the name of the Eka regions down to Ibanke. Some of them don't like to be referred as Eka people. They just tell you the name of their community. So that is the name of the areas in this area. Then the other sides where you have water are called Ndi Oshumili, Ndi Oshimili, or Ndi Osomini. Those who are beside the water. Those are the Ijaw people, Ndi Osomini. And they are not the same with us anyway. So that is the name of the areas around here before the colonizers even came to call it Western Niger. So what I'm trying to treat today is why yam is regarded in Igbo culture as the king of crops. Yam is a symbol of male. In fact, yam is king in Igbo land. Yam is what you use in knowing a man. In fact, in some communities like my own, it is forbidden for a woman to plant yam or harvest yam. So it is for men. Just like palm tree. Although everything in a palm tree is harvested by men, palm tree is a symbol of womanhood. It is from palm tree that we get the highest rank a woman occupies in Igbo land. The highest rank a woman occupies in Western Igbo land is Omo. Omo just means the inflorescence of a palm tree. Please, if you're just coming across this video, kindly share it to your audience. Double tap on the video to give it thumbs up. And please, let us know what you think in the comment section. We are treating why yam is regarded as the king of crop in Igbo land. Thank you, everyone. We have up to 13 people actively watching now. Oh, is that 18 I'm seeing? Please share this video to your audience so that more people can join us. I'm going to do so now. I'm going to take my own advice by sharing the video to my other social media handles. So please bear with me and also share to your own handles. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is Enuani Cultural Forum, and here what we do is to promote the rich cultural heritage of the Igbo people. I am appealing to you So please, if you're seeing this video, kindly double tap it to give it a thumbs up so that the video can rank better on the algorithm. Happy new month. Welcome to the month of April. It's my first time of streaming live in this new month. And that's also because I am not in my known location. You can see what I'm wearing. I'm not wearing my usual traditional attire or regalia. Welcome back, welcome back. This is Enuani Cultural Forum where we promote the rich cultural heritage of the Igbo people. And I am appealing to you to please double tap on the video to give it thumbs up. So in Igbo culture, yam holds the status of being as the king of crops. Please double tap on this video to give it thumbs up. Why is it? It is so because Nani Igbo, every year there's a preparation for yam. It's planting. It starts with the clearing of bush. It starts with prayer, even. All persons who are farmers ga-ebupụta ihe ndị eji akọ ubi, ihe ndị eji akọ ugbo, ebupụta ya n'iru ala. That is what we call Ishuani. They call Ishuani. They will pray implements. So after clearing, people begin to burn their. After burning, they begin the pre-planting activities, which is the clearing of some preparation, digging of where they will plant the yam, just like you saw in my own video earlier on. So after this, you now start planting. When you have planted, you now start doing the what my friend here described as omogo. You start tendering the yam. You start caring for it. You start caring for the yam until it is time for Iwaji. And until it is time for this Iwaji, which is one of the most enduring cultural festivals of Ndi Igbo. Ndi Igbo are known for Iwaji. Iwaji is a cultural festival in Igbo land that we do not joke with. It is a culture that has come to stay. It is a culture that has endured the test, the stern test of time, the culture of Iwaji. The Iwaji festival in Igbo land is widely regarded as one of the most celebrated cultural festivals in Igbo. So, when we do Iwaji, we use it to tell our God that we have survived another year of farming, planting, famine, and then harvest. So, the planting of yam belongs to the men folk. Some even do it in groups. They do it in groups. So they have a batch where we can go to work in your farm today, you come to work in my farm tomorrow, and then they do it that way so that the labor will not be too much or too strenuous for one person. We call it Iyofu. If we are 5 in a group, 5 of us will go to the farm of Mr. A, 5 of us will go to the farm of Mr. B, 5 of us will go to the farm of Mr. C, 5 of us will go to the house of Mr. D, 5 of us will still go to the farm of Mr. E, and then it rotates all over again. If at the time somebody doesn't have the capacity to host us in his farm, he will request that somebody takes up the chance, and then when it is the person's turn, they will go to his own farm. This is how we manage to provide labor, affordable labor for our farms, no matter how large the farm is. For those who have a very large family, it also helps. That is when you now realize that it is important to have a large family made up of sons and daughters, but usually sons. Our women don't usually go to farm yam. They can go to help to cover cassava, help to bring cassava stem, help to harvest cassava. But our women mostly go to farm during harvest, not during planting. Okay, my brother said, why are you doing this to me this morning? Why, brother? Why? Where do you want me to get yam this morning here in Germany? Okay, you see what I said? As if I knew you were in Germany. So I said, if you are in Germany, I remember when our brother Ike Kweremadu, Senator Ike Kweremadu, went to Germany for a YG festival and he was dealt with. So our brothers in diaspora, I know your passion for Igbo culture. In fact, it is you people in diaspora that has taught the world that Igbo culture is not something that ends at home. It is still happening everywhere you see in the Igbo, promoting our culture. I know the passion of Ndi Igbo everywhere in the world that they are. They will want to promote our culture there. So if you cannot plant yam, it's not a problem. You can get yam to do your new yam festival. But what I'm saying is, if you are available, you are at home back here where you know you can plant and then harvest that time, why not? But just like my brother Hood Boy is not available because he's not right here in the country. He's in a place where to even get the soil that you can cultivate with will be difficult. Please, my brother, be with us in spirit. When it is time for New Yam Festival, I'm very sure you can celebrate your New Yam Festival whenever you get a new yam. That is this culture of Ndi Igbo. It's our way of saying prayers and saying that a new year has happened. Because for me, in my community, New Yam Festival is like it heralds other festivals. Our people have a proverb that says, "N'eri mo ogede, je kwenso," that I will not eat plantain to celebrate Ine Festival. Ine Festival is the festival that comes after New Yam Festival. So they will say, "Erikomo ogede je kwenso." It means you have to eat something strong, something heavy like yam before you start talking of other festivals. So we will first of all celebrate New Yam Festival, where you are expected to eat good food. Then you can have energy to talk about the other festivals. We have so many other cultural festivals, but in Iwaji is like the beginning of them all. Without Iwaji, no others cannot hold, because you need G, you need yam to celebrate the other festivals. So I saw that about from 2 years ago, because of all these campaigns we have been doing online, the Oba of Benin, I'm laughing while saying this. The Oba of Benin celebrated New Yam Festival last year. He declared calendar stating that they will be doing Iwaji. They didn't call it Iwaji anyway. Let me not put what is not there. But they celebrated New Yam Festival. So when they started arguing that they have been doing it before, some of my friends in Benin that I talk with, I asked them to provide me evidence that they have done this, even if it is 5 years ago. They couldn't. It's just a new festival they have adopted because we, Ndi Igbo, were able to project it to the world that this festival should be celebrated. For the Hausa people, they plant their yam, harvest it anytime they like. For we have a time you have to plant. We have a time you will harvest. Store it in your barns. The ones you are leaving in the ground, you can leave them, but we have a time. You don't start harvesting when they have not said, okay, harvest. In the olden days, even in my own time when I was younger, even if we were hungry, we will eat ona. Ona is a species of yam. We all know it as Ndi Igbo. When yam has finished in your yam barn, when cocoyam has also finished on the ground, when all the water yam has left the yam barn, we will have ona. So we'll be eating ona until it is time for harvest. This harvest time is around September, the 9th month of the year. So if I plant now, this is April, May, June, July, August, 5 months before you talk about harvest. Barely 5 months. So yam is considered in Igbo culture. Okay, my brother said, I heard New Yam Festival is the same as the Jewish people do. Yes, somebody sent me, his name is Nriwafo, sent me a book by G.T. Basden. I'm always very skeptical about books that are not written by our people because some of them tend to misunderstand our culture and misrepresent it. So he sent me a book written by G.T. Basden on Igbo culture. He said after reading the book, if I finish reading the book, I should still go ahead and pick up the Bible and read the book of Leviticus. I will now understand the relationship between the Igbo culture and the Jewish culture. And I have promised him I will do so. I will take out time to read that book written on Ndi Igbo. The book says Igbos of the Niger. That is the title of the book by G.T. Basden. I think before 1904. That was when he wrote the book. So after reading it, I've also read Cardinal Francis Arinze's book on Igbo religion. So by the time I finish reading these books, read the book of Leviticus in the Bible, I will compare to see how our culture and the Jewish culture align. Because it is easy to just come out and say, bros, can it be true that Igbos and Yorubas or are or may be brothers? Yes, they are brothers. The Igbo people and the Yoruba people are brothers. Historically, I have read historical records that brought us together. And we have lived together as well. My own ancestors, I keep saying this, and it is not me just saying it. We all grew up to know for a knowledge that our ancestor Ezemu came from Ife in Yoruba land. So we'll be wondering, how is that possible? Because he didn't come alone. He came with there are 5 siblings. All right. All their names are Igbo names. Their eldest brother, some say is a sister, but is a brother. Their eldest son was Obodo, Ekelie, Ezenalia, Anega, and then Ezemu. 5 brothers, all bearing Igbo names. With their mother's name, I think Amachi or his wife. All Igbo names. And they came from Ile-Ife down to this area. So we have always known that our ancestors came in the 12th century, came from Yoruba land. Before the Ooni of Ife recently came to say that Ndi Igbo are the traditional owners of Ile-Ife before it was invaded. And until now, there are still remnants of Ndi Igbo in Ile-Ife. It's a widely circulated videos where he also said that the Aje festival belongs to the Igbo people. Some try to be mischievous by saying that it is Ubo, that he's talking about Ubo people. He didn't say Ubo people. He said Igbo people. And that he went further again to say that Ndi Igbo will say that they came from Israel, that's not true. That he believes the Israelites came from Ndi Igbo. How is it so? You have to go back to the history of the ancient Israelites, ancient Jews, to see that they were black. Biblical records of where the Jews were mentioned describe them as black people. Not the people we are seeing today that are a bit fair, a bit dark. They are white, they are black people. White can come from black, but I don't know how black can come from white. Melanin is not something you suddenly come up with. It has to be in your DNA. So, we are Yoruba people. Linguistically, we have relationship. There are things that I mentioned in my language, in the Igbo language, they are the same in Yoruba. Top of them is Okute. What I call Okute is Okuta in their own Yoruba language. There are so many. I will have to do a video. I will promise to do a video comparing the Yoruba language and the Igbo language. That will make sense. I'm going to do a video comparing words in Yoruba and in Igbo. When I say them in Igbo, someone has to say them in Yoruba so that you will see the linguistic relationship. There's a linguistic relationship. And then in terms of ancestral relationship, yes. Not that we are from there. Ndi Igbo, being the kind of people they are, nomads, economic nomads, go that far and stay. When there is problem, they come back. Otherwise, I won't understand how those 5 siblings will just start coming back towards this area if they are not from here. That is true. What you just said is true. The Obas of Benin go to Obugad. Yes, that is true. If you ask them, the Benin people, the real Benin people, not the Yoruba people who came to conquer Benin, the real indigenous owners of Benin, in Anidu till today, the place they call Benin, they have a place called Udo. It is an ancestral quarter. Udo is also a quarter in my own hometown here, an ancestral quarter. You know, names are not things you can change. Ekenwa is still a place in Benin tomorrow. They call it Ekenwa. However you call it, the spelling remains the same. Ekenwa is a place known in Benin, very popular till today. There is Ugo. Ugo is a place the king must go to complete his coronation rites in Benin. He must also come to my hometown, a place called Onichope in Ubuluku. So our relationship, like the Oba of Benin is the one who said this, not the old Oba, the present Oba of Benin, Oba Ewuare II, the Omonoba Nedo Nuku Akpolokpolo, said that the history of the world is a shared one. So we should all understand that We came from here, they came from us, they came from us, we came from them. That's just how the history of the world is. If you ask anybody who is from Idu, they will tell you is a man called Pa Idu. Yabonna Idu is the person who founded Anidu. Do you understand it? Nna anyị Idu wa ahụ onye bidoro ebe a na-akpọ Ani Idu. And where is this Idu from? They will tell you it's from the Lokoja Benue confluence. That Lokoja area. That during the Great Flood, that was when he came and settled in Benin and founded Ani Idu. Pa Idu is the name they call him. Nna anyị Idu. If you check there, you know names don't lie. Ancestral names especially. I am from Idumuede. Abonta Idumuede. Abonta Idumuede. That is the name of my quarter in this ancient kingdom. And it's a royal lineage. All other quarters are either called Obe or Idumu. Idu must be in the name as a founder. Idumu, that is the lineage of the children of Idumu. That is Ama Umu Onya. Let's say Idumu Okonkwo, Idumu Okonkwo, Idumu Adie, Idumu Onishe, Umu Onishe. That is how the name usually comes of all the settlements in this area. So Pa Idu, who founded Ani Idu, now called Benin, there is still Idueri in the other side of the river Niger. There is Idu Ime, Idu Ife is that area after Benin. Is Idu Ife. So there is Ani Idu in this side and in that side. The talk of whether Ndi Igbo are ancient people, we have moved beyond argument concerning that because there are historical proofs that these people are ancient people. There is no history of that Ndi Igbo conquered this area and now imposed kingship on them. Before, they don't used to have kingship. This is what they used to have before Ndi Igbo conquered them and gave them a language. It doesn't exist. There's no such story. Even as a fairy tale, it doesn't exist. Anywhere you find Ndi Igbo speaking Igbo language, it has always been Igbo that they spoke. Reading the book of Professor S.N. Wabara on Igbo culture, he said, Eboland, a century of contact with the Europeans. That book described the Aro people as visitors in Igbo land. And these are Aro people that claim they are the owners of the place. Because he found one document when Aro people signed an agreement with the owners of the land, which are the Onitsha people. And then the Onitsha people are also people who claim that they came back from Anidu. Some will now say that they are not Ndi Igbo. After all, they are returning Igbos. So if you check the history of Ndi Igbo, it is usually that of, what is it called? Autochthonous. They are usually people who are described as autochthonous. They are usually autochthonous. So most places that you will find in the Igbo, they are autochthonous there. Once again, welcome to Enuani Cultural Forum, where we promote the rich cultural heritage of the Igbo people. And I'm pleading with you. I'm appealing to you. I've always done so. To please double tap on our videos to give it thumbs up. Share the video and then give us super thanks too to encourage what we're doing. All right? Please double tap on this video to give it thumbs up. Share to your audience as well. This is a new month of April, and I'm trying to see that our videos rank well on the algorithm. What we do is to create this beautiful promotional content of the Igbo culture, and then it is ours to produce it. Thank you, everyone. This is really amazing. We moved from 3 likes to 7, so we can take it further. If it equals the number of people watching it, it will be very good. What such things do, they are little actions, but they matter a lot. What such little steps that we are taking do is that they will make the video look good on the algorithm. What algorithm does is not a human being, it's a machine programmed to push videos forward. What algorithm does is to check videos. Are people engaging with this video? How much engagement does it have when compared with other videos out there? I'm not the only one making live videos. They will now push the video according to how people have accepted and engaged with the video. With 18,000 people engaged with them, please share this video. engage with them. Please share this video, engage with it. I'm going to go off now. Counting on you to please